The topic of basket weaving and in general weaving with natural materials has always fascinated me. I remember my first times when I tried to weave a basket. I started super motivated, but I didn't finish it. My problem was often that I didn't have enough patience, or I didn't have enough flexible weaving material, or that I thought that the unfinished basket was not stiff enough or were not dense enough. So I found 1,000 reasons to stop the project. Looking back, I can say that I started with weaving projects that were much too complicated, much too demanding. As a beginner, I would have needed a much simpler basket design. So let's say a basket design with a success guarantee. Which is simple basket design, which is realistic, that you can finish it, you can win self-confidence, that you dare to take the next steps. Exactly such a simple but wonderful basket design I would like to present you in this video. So stay tuned if this sounds interesting for you. Hello YouTube, welcome to another Swiss Army Knife project video. To have a little bit experience with weaving with natural materials is for sure a super useful skill for every bushcrafter and survivalist. Baskets are by far not the only projects you can make with the weaving technique. I have already used weaving works as frame for clay walls, for clay ovens, for clay chimneys, for roofs, for doors, for a backrest of a chair, for the seat flat of a chair, for a hammock, for traps, for fishes and animals, and 1,000 things more. But before you can start with your weaving project, you have to harvest a sufficient amount of weavable materials which are flexible and strong enough. That's why I would say, let's check out first my area and I'll show you some plants which I use for my weaving projects. The classic weaving material is willow. And yes, we have some willows tree here, but not really the ones with the long straight shoots. Thin birch bark branches are also quite flexible, but birches are not that common here. The weaving materials that are the easiest to find here are blackberry and raspberry vines. The whole forest floor is full of them. The disadvantage is that you have first to remove the thorns. For that I pull with the rag from the bottom to the top like this. If you have gloves, you can also use gloves for that. I like this material very much. I make them a little bit more flexible by pull them around the trunk like this. I really like blackberry and raspberry vines to make baskets. And if you find another plant from which you think this can be suitable for weaving, just take it, wrap it around your hand. And if you can make like this plant will be fine. Another easy to find weaving material is the forest clematis. Forest clematis is a liana-like plant that grows up on the trees and spreads like crazy in the treetop. What I want to show you today is one of the simplest baskets I know, and this is the branch fork basket. Now I will harvest some clematis shoots, and after I will explain you the concept of the branch fork basket. What we also need for a branch fork basket is a branch with a fork with a large opening angle. If the opening angle is just like this, the basket frame gets too narrow. But like this, the shape would be perfect. That's why I cut away the middle branch. First step you have to make is to bend the two legs. And now you have to fix these two legs together. You can do this with cord, you can do this with wire. I want to make two slots with the wood saw and stick them together. To bind these two legs together, you can use a little bit root from a spruce, then wrap it around. So, this is perfect. Before I start with the weaving work, I need to make the clematis sprouts more flexible. To do this, I twist them in so that the fiber strands separate lengthwise from each other. If I don't do this with every shoot I use, the danger is high that the shoot will break on the narrow 180-degree turn around the frame. So that's it. So now I start to put around the clematis shoot in the shape of an 8, like this. So I hope you can see this pattern. So now I make the same on the other end here. So what I also need for my basket are 4 straight, thin shoots. In this case, 2 Kaiser shoots, and from these shoots I will make the ribs. As you can see, I tapered them at the end. We have 4 cavities here, 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 and here. And the idea is take 2 ribs, put them together like this, and now I push them into the first cavity. So, done. Then take the second ribs, put them together like this, And now I push them in the second hollow, and like this. Now we have to decide how long we want to make these ribs. So as long as the ribs, as bigger the belly from the basket. So now we have to shorten these ribs. Yeah. I try to make the ends again that they are tapered. Now I put them together like this and try to insert them in the hole. Oh, I guess this is not that bad. Second ones. So then put them together and try to insert them in this cavity. So now I have 4 ribs. If you want to make a bigger basket, you have to make more ribs. So now we can start with the weaving work. For that, I shorten the shoots a little bit. I would say not longer than 150. Because you have to pull through them after every turn, and if they are too long, this is annoying. I start with the thin shoot because at the beginning we have to make the thin work here. So at the first turns you can adjust the ribs a little bit so that they come to stay in the right position. So as shorter the end of the shoot is, as easier it is to wave or to pull through. So here is an end. Now I take the next shoot, put it next to the end and go on. So my friends, after about 2 hours, the basket is done. And at the end, it's a little bit close, a little bit tense to weave, but it works. And I like the rustic and simple design. And don't start with a basket like this or a basket like this. So make your first experience with something like this or like this or like this. So now at the end of this video I would like to tell you something that bothered me since months. In the last half year it was week for week the same. I had always so much stress to finish a new video until next Friday. And this sucks. The problem is probably that I make YouTube videos in 10 years, and if I don't want to repeat my old topics, I have to make researches, I have to try out new things, and this needs so much time. And I like to make researches, I like to try out new things, but not under time pressure. The times are over where I just can shake new topics out of my sleeve. Another factor is for sure that my kids are getting older and they have hobbies and they need my support. And in the last months I started to renovate the attic of my house. I want to make rooms for my children. What I want to say is that the time is definitely over where I can invest every second of my free time for YouTube. So, and that's why I'm not longer able to upload every Friday a video. And please don't understand me wrong. I'm still motivated. I have still a lot of ideas and projects. But at the end of my life, if I have to leave this planet, I can go satisfied if I was a good father and not if I was a good YouTuber. What I want to say is that I'm still motivated to upload videos, but not at any price. I don't want work through the nights if I realize that the time is running out. So in this case, I upload the video a week later. I hope you can understand that. So my friends, that's it for today. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and see you in 1 or 2 weeks. Ciao.